Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this festive hot pad. This hot pad measures approximately 8 inches across by 8 inches high, and you can always change up the colors to match your holiday decor if you want to make this for the holiday season, or if you want to just make this for any time of the year, you can choose whatever colors that you would like. This is a double thick hot pad, meaning you're going to crochet 2 panels and then you're going to sew them together and add a hanging loop in order for it to be extra thick. So let's get started on today's tutorial making the Festive Striped Hot Pad. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need one skein of 3 different colors, and I'm just going to be using the Premier Home Cotton yarn, and this is 131 yards, 120 meters, 2.65 ounces or 75 grams. It is 85% recycled cotton and 15% polyester. And the color I'm using is called Christmas Green. And this is considered a number 4 worsted weight yarn, and it is machine wash and tumble dry. So you're going to need one skein of Christmas Green, one skein of Cranberry, and one skein of white. And you can probably get maybe 3, you could definitely get 2 hot pads. You might be able to get 3 hot pads out of one skein depending on your gauge and how big you make your hot pad. You're also going to need a size H 5mm crochet hook. So let's begin today's tutorial. Okay, so for my hot pad, I'm going to be starting with the green, and in my other hot pad I started with the red, so I wanted to switch up the colors slightly. So you're going to go ahead and make a chain of 34. Now if you would like to make your hot pad slightly larger or even a little bit smaller, you're going to need to do a chain in a multiple of 4 plus 2. So that means you multiply any number by 4, and once you're satisfied with the width of your project, you're going to go ahead and add 2 more chains to the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and make my chain of 34, so that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to yarn over your hook, pull through that loop on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, continue until you have a chain of 34 or your multiple of 4 plus 2. Okay, so once we have our 34 chains, we can go ahead and begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to go ahead and make a cluster V stitch into the 5th chain from our hook. So that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in that 5th chain, you're going to make a cluster V stitch. So you're going to yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that 5th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you're going to stop right here and you're going to yarn over your hook. You're going to insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. You now have 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through the remainder 3 loops to close out that stitch. So you're basically just making 2 double crochets together. Next, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to work right back into that same chain by making another cluster V stitch. So once more, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining 3 loops. Okay, next you're going to skip 2 chains and you're going to work a cluster V stitch into the next chain. So you're going to skip that next 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that you're going to make another cluster V-stitch. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops only, yarn over, pull through the remaining 3 loops. You're going to go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to make your cluster V-stitch into that same chain. So you're going to repeat this all the way across until you have 2 chains remaining. So you're going to go ahead and skip 2 chains, so 1 and 2, and in the chain after that you're going to make your cluster V-stitch. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across until you have 2 chains remaining. Okay, so I'm coming up at the end of my row and I have 2 chains remaining. We're going to go ahead and skip 1 chain, and we're going to make a double crochet into that last chain. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that last chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is what your first row is going to look like. So if you are a beginner and have trouble keeping your ends straight, I highly recommend getting a stitch marker and putting it right here in the top of your last stitch made. As you make more rows, you're going to just go ahead and move your stitch marker up. And then when you go to the very beginning of your work, you're going to find that cluster, and you're going to insert your hook right at the top, right here next to the cluster. So you have your double crochet stitch right here. You're going to insert your stitch marker right into the top of that chain that you skipped from the beginning. So this one right here. And again, as you make more rows, you're going to go ahead and just move your stitch marker up. So we're going to go ahead and do chain 1 and turn. And the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And in that very first stitch right here, we're going to go ahead and make a double crochet. And then with that double crochet stitch, go ahead and insert your stitch marker into the top of that stitch. Okay, now we're going to be working a cluster V-stitch into the chain 1 space from the previous row. So working right here in between your stitches, this is where you're going to be working into for this row. So yarn over, insert your hook right into that space, that chain 1 space, and you're going to be making that cluster V-stitch like you did from the previous row. You're going to chain 1 and then complete your cluster V-stitch all inside that chain 1 space. So then when you look at your work, your V-stitches are going to be stacked right on top of one another, and it'll form a nice little pattern. So you're just going to do this for the remainder of the row. You're going to find that chain 1 space, and you're going to work your cluster V-stitch, making sure to put a chain 1 in between your cluster V-stitch. Go over to that next chain 1 space and make your next cluster V-stitch. Chain 1 and right back into that chain 1 space, make the other half of your cluster V-stitch. Okay, so you're going to repeat this all the way to the end of the row, and then I will show you how to end row 2 and complete row 3. Okay, so I'm over at the end of row 2 and I have the double crochet stitch remaining. So you're going to skip over that last cluster. You're going to work directly to the left of it, and you're going to go ahead and make a double crochet into the top. So it's going to be that marked stitch, and you're just going to make a double crochet. So for each of your rows, you're going to start and end with a double crochet, and then in between you have that cluster V stitch. And again, working into the chain 1 space from the previous row will just make everything look nice and even and stacked on top of one another. So you're going to go ahead for row 3. You're just going to repeat row 2 for the entire pattern. So for row 3, you're going to chain 1 and turn. So what I did for my hot pad is I made 3 rows of the one color, so in this case green. I made 2 rows of white, and then 3 rows of green, and then I just repeated that for a total of 13 rows. So you're going to start and end with your green or your red depending on your preference. So looking at my hot pad one more time, you have the 3 rows of the red, the 2 rows of the white, and then I did the 3 rows of the green, and I just repeated that once, so then that way you have the red to start and end your hot pad. And if you start with the green, again, you're going to have the green, white, red, white, green. So go ahead and make 2 of those panels exactly the same. You're going to go ahead and make your 13 rows all together, just repeating row 2 for the entire pattern. And then when you finish your 2 panels, you're going to go ahead and sew them together. So once you get to that point, I will show you how to make the hot pad and sew it together. So just repeat row 2 for the pattern, and then I'll show you how to continue from there. Okay, so I have both of my panels, and I did weave in all of my ends for that. And for that second panel, I did not cut off the yarn, I just kept it because we're going to be using that for the border. So let me just zoom up a little bit here. So now we're going to be working on the border and sewing our 2 panels together. So you're just going to get your 2 panels and you're going to go ahead and line them up so they're even. And I'm just going to go ahead and chain 1. And you're going to find the corner of your 2 panels and you're just going to make a single crochet around. So insert your hook into that corner space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, and pull through both loops. We're going to be working along the side of our hot pad, so you just want to make a single crochet evenly all the way down the side, going in both panels. And you're just going to make a single crochet evenly all the way across. Okay, so make a single crochet evenly all the way across, and when you get to that first corner, I will show you how to make the corner and continue the border. Okay, so I have one more stitch to go before that corner. Now when you get to that corner stitch, you're going to go ahead and make 3 single crochets in that corner, and that's just going to help to round out your corner and make it look nice and even. Okay, then for the remaining 3 sides, you're just going to go ahead and make 1 single crochet evenly across the top and the bottom, and then evenly across the side of your hot pad, and then I will show you how to make that hanging loop. So make 1 single crochet around your entire hot pad, making 3 single crochets into that corner. When you get to the very beginning, I'll show you how to finish that last corner as well as making that hanging loop. Okay, so I'm over at my first corner and we have that one single crochet. So we're going to go ahead and make 2 more single crochets into that corner space. We're going to find our first single crochet and we're going to make a slip stitch. So then for that hanging loop, you're going to go ahead and make a chain of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you're just going to come all the way back down, and in that very first single crochet, you're just going to go ahead and make a slip stitch. And then you're going to cut your yarn, leave a little bit for a tail. And I like to yarn over my hook and pull through that loop. And then let's get our stitch marker, or let's get our tapestry needle and go ahead and weave in that end. So what I like to do is I like to keep that color with the same color. So keep the green with the green to hide it even more. And then you're just going to go in between your stitches to hide your yarn. And then I just like to go in the opposite way. And for good measure, I like to go one more time in the opposite direction. And then once I feel like my tail is secure, I'm just going to cut my yarn close to the hot pad, and then we are finished. So this is your completed hot pad. It's double thick, like I said. So here is my other one. So you can make these in opposite colors or whatever color that you would like, even if you wanted to make it in a solid red, a solid white, and a solid green and have them as a little set. You can do that as well. And here is that hanging loop that I showed you. So thank you so much for joining me today and learning how to make the Festive Striped Hot Pad. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!